Hello and welcome to The Comic Cave. I'm Ramsey, aka Captain Away, and today I'm looking at the collection Infinity War Aftermath. Like the Infinity Gauntlet Aftermath collection before it, this book is a collection of loosely related comics intended to somewhat bridge the gap between two parts of the Infinity Trilogy, this time between War and Crusade. This time, however, they're a little less loosely connected, and we see some plot points directly tied between the portions of the two events that bookended. Also, Starlin clearly had started to get a sense of where he wanted to take his Infinity Watch, and we start seeing hints at a bigger story waiting to unfold down the line. So let's see if that makes this Aftermath collection any easier to read than the last one, and take this away. The collection opens with another trial between Eternity and the Living Tribunal, where Eternity is demanding to have the Infinity Gems given over to his possession. It's pretty much just a filler issue that goes back through all the history of the characters as I've been covering for the past month now. We do learn some stuff about Pip that I never knew before. Apparently he was originally the prince of a planet called Laxadasia, which, yeah, is a pretty stupid name. Also, he seems to be Squat from Space Brat. Does anyone remember Space Brat? Just me? Okay then. So Pip was normal enough until the day he decided to party with a passing group of trolls and learned that when you party with trolls, you become one. What? That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Which is really saying something if you've seen the stupid things I've waded through for my other reviews. Moving on from the pointless trial, we get back to the Watch on Monster Island. Adam is still in a coma that he fell into during his fight with the Magus. Without leadership, the team starts falling apart. Moondragon, for example, accidentally incites some of Drax's memories, which makes him angry and he flies off to Nevada, which is where he lived when he was human. Unfortunately, that's where the Hulk has taken up residence. And when the big green oaf that is Drax starts causing trouble around the city, the media immediately takes to blaming Hulk for the trouble. Which, I guess it's nice to know that I'm not the only one who thinks Drax is a little too much like the Hulk. I mean, he's big, he's green, he's stupid. What more do you want? The Hulk shows up to try and run Drax out of town, but they're pretty evenly matched in power and durability, so the fight just leads to a lot of the town getting destroyed. Eventually, Hulk decides to try another tactic and just surrenders to Drax. Luckily for Reno, this is Smart Hulk and not Angry Hulk. Drax then reveals he's only interested in a saxophone he's seen in a pawn shop window. In order to get rid of the nuisance, Hulk just busts open the window and hands the sax to Drax. Hey, Hulk, if it's a positive media image you're trying to promote, breaking and entering and burglary are probably not the best ways to go about that. Drax returns home with his new toy, and apparently when he was still Arthur Douglas, he was a jazz musician. He retains just enough of that old memory to play the instrument with some mastery, so the Watch can have a smooth jazz soundtrack from now on. That's nice, I guess. Following this event, the island is invaded by a UN peacekeeping force at the prompting of US Senator Kyle Munson. They view Mole Man and the Watch as a potential threat to world safety, and so they want to take over the island. Gamora attempts to reason with them, but the man in charge, Captain Hammer, like most men with too much power, considers a doll like her to be a waste of his time. When Gamora has taken all their insults and threats she can stand, she proceeds to beat the crap out of the entire army, single-handed, while the rest of the Watch simply looks on and enjoys the show. I do appreciate Starlin villainizing a sexist pig like Hammer, especially with the satisfying conclusion of having a powerful woman beat the snot out of him and all his men. But it hardly makes up for all the treatment of women we've had so far and will continue to have, especially the continued use of words like doll, broad, and especially wench. Also, Pip is still there and he's going to continue to be a little troll. No pun intended. Well, maybe a little intended. Speaking of Pip, we learn here that his ability to teleport that he gets from owning the space gym only allows him to teleport to places he's been. Unless, that is, he's touching someone. This allows him to make a psychic link with that person and teleport to any place they think of. This is surprisingly probably the most important bit of information in this collection to prepare you for Infinity Crusade. Having finally killed enough time since the events of Infinity War, we finally focus in on Adam and his coma. Eternity enters into Warlock's dreams, demanding he wake up due to the fact that he alone can help protect the universe from some upcoming dangers. In particular, he warns Adam that he will soon meet 5 individuals with specific traits that may pose some degree of threat to all that is. Most of the rest of the Infinity Watch series will focus on meeting these individuals. For now, Eternity helps Adam rebuild his broken psyche by having him face the various different versions of himself and learn to accept that they are part of him. And by that, I mean he absorbs them into himself in a weird way. Well, still less weird than Silver Surfer absorbing his dark self. Before he leaves, Eternity also gives Warlock a gift, the glowy ball thing from Solar Babies. Anyone remember Solar Babies? Just me? Okay then. Warlock barely has a moment to get his bearings though before the island comes under attack from these weird shadow creatures. They were sent by Count Abyss, a strange creature from another dimension who wants Adam's soul gem. It seems Adam has already encountered one of the individuals Eternity warned him about, the one without a soul. The moment Abyss ends his attack, a bright light appears in the distance. The team shows up to investigate it, only to find a strange man asleep on the beach. This man is Maxim, a new character Starlin invented just for this story. He has no ability to remember his past, and even Moondragon's attempts to explore his mind using the mind gem prove fruitless. Despite this, no one on the team really trusts his claim of amnesia, especially since he ended up fighting everyone when he first woke up, going so far as to even throw Drax out into the ocean. A move we'll see him use again in Infinity Crusade for a plot point there. Gamora, in particular, doesn't trust him because she previously had a vision that she believes came from her time gem of Maxim standing over a dead Warlock. That, coupled with him somehow recognizing Warlock when he first saw him and attacking him outright, leads her to believe that they should just kill Maxim and be done with it. Instead, Adam offers to let Maxim join the team so they can help him learn who he is. With no better options available to him, Maxim agrees. From there, we move on to a special limited Silver Surfer series. In the Surfer's recent history, he had finally returned to his home planet of Sin La. Only, it wasn't there, as it had apparently been devoured by this weird galaxy brain floating around in space. The galaxy brain apparently goes about the universe devouring worlds and then recreating them on a psychic plane inside its brain. With the help of Moondragon, Surfer gets inside that meme and reunites with his long-lost love, Shala Ball. But the Great One, the personification of the brain, doesn't like gatecrashers at his party, so they fight, and as you can probably expect if you've been following my videos, Surfer quote-unquote accidentally kills him. I'm sure he was all, "I never meant to." Sure, Surfer, sure. With their psychic host dead, everyone is forced to abandon ship, brain ship. Ship brain? Everyone that is, except Shala Ball. Woman, read fridge. Turns out though, Warlock has been gazing in his Solar Baby's ball and discovered that Shala Ball isn't as dead as Surfer thought. Working together, they get Shala's body back from the realm of Mistress Death, but she's a little unresponsive. Apparently, she's missing a soul, and this is because Death never had her soul. Instead, it's owned by Mephisto, who took it so he could trick Surfer into his realm and torture him. The Watch try to help him fight Mephisto, but without much success. He's the complete master of his own realm, making him basically a god while they're there. And so like any god would, he strikes down Gamora and turns Adam into a pillar of salt before quickly taking out the rest of the Watch. Adam doesn't remain assaulted for long though, and frees himself with the aid of the Soul Gem, which he claims gives him mastery over all souls. This might mean even Mephisto's soul, so the two decide to test that theory. They fight for dominance, and Adam eventually proves victorious, earning back Shala Ball's soul. Their reunion is brief, though, as Shala Ball has responsibilities to her people that don't allow her to continue her relationship with the Surfer. Still, Surfer agrees that he is now in Adam's debt, which I guess is useful if Adam ever needs anyone accidentally murdered. We move on from here to a few issues of Quasar. Quasar was dead at the time, though, having accidentally nullified himself in Infinity War. Luckily, there was a replacement in the form of Marvel Boy. Marvel Boy is actually a character that predates Marvel Comics, but he was co-created by Stan Lee. He hails from the 1950s, but never really appeared much and is mostly forgotten by history. This Marvel Boy is not the same character, but a duplicate created by Thanos while the Titans still wielded the Infinity Gauntlet. Not sure when that was supposed to happen, but we definitely didn't see it in the Infinity Gauntlet series. With Quasar dead, Thanos sends Marvel Boy to Earth to be his replacement, but it doesn't go over well. He demands to be part of the Avengers, who don't want him, before attempting to become the Punisher's sidekick, who wants him around even less. Meanwhile, Quasar wakes up in a place called the Unfinished Pages Room. I mean White Room. It's called the White Room. The room is just one endlessly long table, seating a full history of everyone who was ever chosen by Eon to wear the quantum bands and become earlier versions of Quasar. Eon is also there as a freaky-ass chia pet thing, who really wants Quasar to drink his blood for some reason. Man, this comic is weird. Thanks to a showdown with Marvel Boy, who by now is calling himself Blue Marvel, and a magical superpower-granting tattoo from another dimension called the Star Brand, Quasar manages to get out of the White Room and back to reality. Or as he calls it, real-live outer space. It's kind of a weird thing to call outer space, but okay. This comic is much more notable for having these two characters in it. One is Kayla, who is supposedly Quasar's girlfriend, and he has apparently STD'd her a copy of the Star Brand. I've gotta say though, I feel like her and Holly here are having some kind of very understated lesbian relationship going on between them. Definitely get a bit of a shoujo-ai vibe. Also notable is the appearance in this series of Kismet, also known as Aisha, also known as Paragon, also known as Her. This is because she's a female version of Adam Warlock, created by the same scientist that made him after he rebelled and left them, which makes it surprising that she was never called Eve. Despite her connection to Adam, this is literally her only appearance in the entire Infinity series, and it's a completely tangential one with no bearing on the plot whatsoever. The collection also has some bonus material, including bits from a Marvel swimsuit comic that the Watch make an appearance in, even though, like, Moondragon's outfit, it's already every bit as revealing as that swimsuit. There's also this letter from Mark Grunwald, who was writing Quasar for the issues collected here, basically whining about crossovers and having to do a story bringing Quasar back to life so soon after having just done one. Apparently though, he had actually asked Jim Starlin to quote-unquote make sure Quasar had something important to do in Infinity War, though he calls it Infinity Gauntlet, and that's why the whole nullifier thing happened in the first place, which I find hilarious. There's also this little story of Thanos, for some reason, celebrating Christmas with a young Gamora, in order to give her a semblance of a normal upbringing, which is most notable for also being included in the Infinity War collection. This happened once before, with a story called The Final Flower being in both the Rebirth of Thanos collection and Avengers vs. Thanos for some reason. But at least those two collections are relatively unrelated, and you wouldn't necessarily own both. These two collections literally have the same name, and there's no reason why you would have Aftermath, but not just regular Infinity War. So there's really no reason for the repeat. Are you even reading your own collections, Marvel? On to the breakdown. As with the Aftermath collection for Infinity Gauntlet, this collection is pretty pointless. It doesn't really add much to the story or contain any vital information, but the quality is noticeably higher. The Silver Surfer comics here are definitely more enjoyable than any collected previously in the series, and these are some of the best Warlock in the Infinity Watch issues in that series' entire run, which sadly isn't saying a whole lot. The Quasar issues are pretty poorly written, and the bonus materials are nothing to get excited about, even if it's hard to be upset about bonus material. So all of that considered, I'm giving this collection a recommendation level of low. It won't hurt you to read it, but you won't be missing a lot by skipping it either. Thanks everybody for watching! Next week we cover the last actual part of the Infinity series with Infinity Crusade, but Adam Warlock's story keeps going after that, as you'll see if you stick around. Be sure to subscribe to make sure you're here for that video, and I hope to see you then, right here in the Comic Cave.